Well, this is Baruch here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and I want to thank those people who listen to these shiurim. I was saying that to my chavrusa that to fight the forces, the chitzonius, that is, of the lies and so on and so forth, the tremendous hate which is directed at the Jews. To fight that, there's a phrase in the dinim, the punishments that are happening to us and starting to happen worse. Those punishments are dinim. Dinim can only be sweetened at their source, and this is what the RASHASH wants to do. He wants to bring us the magic of these words that are contained in the bracha. And now we're looking once again at the matbea bracha, this time just for tefillin. So it starts out and it says the bracha zu bechitzonius atzilus. So we're picturing ourselves at the end of Atzilus about to go into the lower worlds. You say the word Baruch. Baruch, when you say that it has these consequences, this is what the Baruch is a gematria of 228, and what comes out of the Baruch is a series of yichudim. These are called a shelav, and the shelav is actually a picture of a yichud. And in this shelav, which is taking place in the Chagat Atek, so that Atek is the deepest parts of that we recognize. It has two different versions. It has in the Chabad sign is a yichud where the yud is on the inside, that is of the Chavaya Akia, and the other one is the Nai V'Chagat is the lower section of it, which is with the yud is on the outside. This is called a chitza. This is called a zivug panimi, and this is called a zivug chitza. We have that in Chagat the Atek, and we have it in the Chagat the Ariach. Why is the Chagat? So Chagat refers to the stage of what's called the Anika. That is when Zera Anpin is just born, like a child. A child has to grow up to get to maturity, and so that he has mochin. He looks like a person, but he's small, or he or she is small, and they have to grow. And along with their growing, also grows their moach. Also grows the shefa that's coming into them. So the shefa that's coming in, which is called the chagat, really refers to Chagat and Nai. So it's the lower six spheros. Chagat the Eric Anpin, so that's his Chagat. And then we see these are the Mochin. I learned earlier today, I saw that the Mochin actually pictured like this, but one is inside of the next. So Av is inside of Sag, Sag is inside of Ma, and Ma is inside of Ben, and all of those are flowing downwards. If you looked at it, what you would see if it was like say looking at another person, what you would see is the outside part, is the Ben part. The Ben part is this world. So let's go on a little bit more. There are other details to come to, and here is a what we call the shulav pnimi. The Kavanot the zivug chabag the chagat. So we're thinking now we're at the top of the chagat. The chagat is a partzif with a rosh, a toch, and a sof. It's three parts called Chabad, Chagat, Nai. And he says the Ma, U, Ben, the Abba, Ve'imba, Ve'yasas. It's moving down. So over here we were in Atik and Eric Anpen. Now we're in the combined parts of Abba, Ve'imba, and Yasos. And we see once again the Mochi. Now, what this is about is going to the Yisod, the Yisod, the Zivug Elyon, the Yisod, the Zivug Elyon, the Abba V'yasos, and this is from Iman to Buna. They all come together, and they look like this, which is a gematria of 232. 232 is 228, which is the word bracha plus 4, like the 4 letters of the Yud K Vav K. I'm not really sure exactly what that's about. So over yesterday we saw that zivuk chitzon denai v'chagat chagat. So there is apparently, if he says there's a zivuk chitzon, there must be a zivuk panimi. A lot of people don't use the word zivuk. Instead, they change it to yichud. So we could do that too. We'll do it in between. Zivuk chitzon, or he said the yichud chitzon, looks like this. So this, once again, we saw this idea where the yud is on the outside. Now, what difference does it make? I don't know. So he just tells me, I'd like to find out, but he's telling me that's what takes place here. And then we have a picture of the mochin at the top. The oros, and the oros of Keser. These are all the oros of Keser. Then the oros of Chochma. One is inside of the next, one's inside of Bina, and then exactly what this performs, what it does, is just the milui. You notice that his yud is a little tiny. Yud ke vav ke is tiny, but the miluim are big to actually let you know this is a gematria 46, 37, and this gematria is 19. So what exactly it means, I don't know. So now let's go to the next magic word. Again, it's my words, magic, but why does it say magic? Because if you picture this in the way that the RASHASH is laying it out, you're really getting into the inside power of the word itself. So the first word we're going to get to here is now the word Atah. So we said the word Baruch, and we saw the Shaluvim and all the flow of the Mochin that came from that. So I think that for myself, just being able to look at this and be able to decipher it a little bit is a big aliyah for me. Now, why that is something beyond me, but it's just the way it is. So he says like this, you say the word Atah, another magic word. It causes Yakavin the zivug elyon. You should have the concept of the zivug elyon. Where's it taking about? The Chagat, the Abba Ve'ima V'Yasas. Now you're at the level we went through before, the level of Atik and the level of Eric Anpin. And now we're talking about, we're going to have at the top part, the Chabad of the Chagat. And again, that's the parts of that we're going at, the Abba Ve'ima V'Yasas. So like I said before, you could always read these backwards. And you read them backwards, it gives you where the destination, which is Abba Ve'ima and Yasos, and then this is the zivug that's going to bring them shefa, and here it is. It's a zivug panemi, according to what we said. So he said lahamshech mi yisod the zivug of panemi. Okay, so he said yisod the zivug of panemi, not the yisodos. So he says lahamshech mi yisod zivug of panemi the chaba the hagat, which is the top part of the hagat. The Abba V'Yasos on the right side of Abba V'Yasos. And what's going to happen? Tipas Asmab, and here is Asmab, we're going to see it in a second. Im Chamisha Chasadim together with the 5 Chasadim. Now, so my teacher, Rabbi Memran, always said, don't try to figure out why he put these things here. So it's because it's bigger than both of us, so to speak. So he says, now the next thing is we want to see the Av, the Sag, the Ma, and the Ben. Now these are the 4 Mochin. As we said previously, one is inside of the next. Av is inside, which is Kesser, often is Kesser. And Sag is inside of Sag, which is inside of Ma, which is inside of Ben. But along with them come 5 Chasadim. Note that the Chasadim are always pictured as Yud Kei Vav Kes. The Gevuras are also pictures as Yud Kei Vav. 5 times 26 is 130, gives the word cow. Also possibility the word coal. So these are different ideas. They're all menukad according to this is Chesed Gevur. The Nekudos are Chesed Gevur, Tiferes, Netzach, and Hod. Now, where is this going? It's going to the Yesod of Benimi, because we showed you this is the Yichud up here of Benimi. The Chabad, the Chagat, the Ibach, the Tevuna, also this is a separate flow. The Tevuna, Shabo are the names Kasa, Kamag, and Kana. There are 3 Mochin. Why 3 over here and 4 over by Zeranpen, on the male side? I'm not sure. But here he shows you the 3 Mochin, which are Kasa, which is a Gematria 161, Kamag, which is a Gematria 143, and Kana, which is a Gematria of 151. Now, exactly, he says this is the flow. When you say the word Atah, this is what's going on. So he says, it continues on, and he says, "V'yakavin the hamshach mi yisod the zivug benimi." For there's a yisod. Now he didn't say the yisodos, which throws me a little bit because it should be a yichud between the yisod of Abba, or excuse me, of Zer Anpen, and the yisod of the Nook. But here he said mi yisod from the yisod of the zivug, which implies that in the yisivug of benimi there are 10 spheros. I don't know how that works. So he said, let's read it all together. He said, "V'yakavi lahamshach miyasod the zivuk benimi the chaba the hagat." We're dealing with the chaba the hagat. Remember, Chagat is the middle. Is the middle. It refers to unique. It refers to also another concept which is called katnus. But in katnus there are 10 spheros, and this whole thing is coming out like this. What does katnus mean? Before we receive the consciousness of godless. So he says, this is coming from Ima and Tavuna. Now here they're combining the partsufim, and I'm not sure why. So, but at any rate, they do. So So again, we have all the same names. This is all coming. This is Av, Sag, Ma, and Ben. And in the middle, you have all of this. And then at the same time, he says you has Kasa, Kamag, and Kana. All of this is flowing. What was his word? Lahamsha mi yisod. So now this is coming out of the yisod, the product of that zivug. And finally, Kana down at the bottom. These are all the mochin of the male side and the female side. Where is this going to go? So we have the word Atah. We have the Yehudim, the mochin, and now we're saying, okay, that's what's flowing. Where is it flowing to? So he said we're flowing from the yichud, which I don't have a good explanation for this time, what it means to flow out of that yichud, other than flow out of that yichud of the yisod. So now he said the malchus is going to the malchus, the chabad, the chagat. Notice that the directions are the same. It was pointed out by my teacher, Rabbi Memran. He said that the directions are the same. So one is from the chabad, the chagat of the upper part, which is Abba Ve'im and Yasos. It's going to go to the same place in the chabad, the chagat, the Ima, the Tevuna, Shehi Tana, which is a gematria of 455. Ubo Chamesh Gevuros. So now we're going to see, this is a picture. Let me just see if I think I misunderstood this a little bit. So it's going, okay, no, I didn't. So it's going to go to the Malchus, back to the Chabad again, of the Chabad, the Hagat, the Ima B'Tavuna, of that combined parts of Ima Tavuna, Shehi Hagat, which is a gematria 455. Uba, in that, Chamesh Gevuros, also there are 5 Gevuros inside. Because Das could be inside of Das is holding the 5 Gevuros. So he says here you have Kasa, Kamag, down here you're going to have Kane, and in the middle is going to be the 5 Gevuros. Again, this is the Nikud of Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, and Hod. Each one of them has a different. Now, we're going to finish up here. And we're going to look at the last part of this before we get to another magic word, which is in the word Havaya. And so he says like this, V'yakabe, now we have all this Hamshacha from the previous page, all of these lights. He says this is actually what's happening in the Panemius of the Olamos, because the Tikkun of Zer Anpin is crucial to the peace of the world. So let's go over here, a piece of our lives. So he says, "V'yakave lahamshek mabda'av." Now we're going to have to see what the mabda'av is, but it's a rule. In Atzilus, it's going to always look like this, and we'll see it again. So your kavanah is that you're going to start streaming. I'm looking for a good word for lahamshek. I actually probably could look that up, but I use the word streaming or pouring or flowing, something like that, to cause the flow. The 42 letters of Av. Umalua, and together with its milui, where is it going to come from? Interesting idea. He says the ponim, mi ponim, and it's coming out of the ponim of the Tesha Sefiros Elyonas de Kachba. It's coming out of the upper 9 spheros, that is not counting Malchus. The Malchus is where it's going to. He says Elyonas, I think, Elyonas de Kachba. Which Kachba we're talking about? Of the right side, the Hachan, the Nahi, the Chagat, the Chagat. Let's read it again. It's going to go to the right line of the parts of called Chagat, which part is going to go to? The Nai v'Chagat. Now, the Nai v'Chagat is the same thing as saying Chesed Gevurah Tiferes Netzach Hod Yesod. A drawing for this would be helpful, but with me, the way that I learned, I hold it in my mind. I just think that's the way it is with me. Sound has a lot more to do than pictures, but we're going to start getting into more of the drawings that we're going to find in a sefer called Nakudas Akasset. I just need to work on it a little bit. So he said the chsev, the kachav, the very top part of the right line, which is chacham, which chacham stands for, if you didn't know, chachma, chesed, and netzach. That's the right line of Zeranpin. At that actual right line of the chacham, of the naiv of chagat hagat. Now we've seen this phrase before. Chagat has is divided into 6 different either partsufim or spheros, which are chesed, gevurah, tiferes, netzach, hod, and yesod. There's 6 of them. The Abba ve'Iva v'Yasos, together with the Narantchi. We know what we've had before about the Narantchi. Narantchi refers to the lights, the panemius of the panemius. This is what we want to draw down because it brings tremendous sweetness into our lives and into the world. The Abba ve'Iva v'Yasos, in the Narantchi, the Nechi, the Chaya, the Ruach. Oh, that's a really long one. And how we get over here, I don't know. But reading it backwards, we're talking about the Ruach of the Ruach. So let's take Ruach. Ruach has its own Narantchi. Inside of that Narantchi, one of the spheros, one of the oros, they're oros. One of the oros is called Ruach. So Ruach, so it's the Ruach, and then look into that Ruach, and you find there's a Narantchi in the Ruach, and we're dealing with the Ruach of the Ruach. And where is it part of? Well, it turns out that it's part of another section of lights called Chaya, very high level of lights. From the parts of the Nechi, of the Neshama Chayin Yechida, the Narantchi. Reading it backwards, the Narantchi, that's enough. So we have a depth there, and we're reaching for that depth. And our whole hope is a prayer from Hashem, is that you bring this sweetness to us. And here's how it goes. First of all, he shows these are the Nakudos of Chochmah. In that Chochmah, which he's saying, I think is Av, there's a Keser, which is 4 letters. There's a Milui of the Keser, which is the Milui of Av, which is 10 letters. And there's a Milui of the Milui. Looks like this. Well, they filled out each one of these letters, like Yud Vav Dalet, Vav Yud Vav Dalet, so made a Yud. This is 28 letters. If you add them 4 and 10 and 28, you get the number 42. Now, what is 42 doing? 42 is the number of Aliyah. But here, everything is going downwards. Everything's going down, not going upwards. So this leads me to wonder exactly what's going on. So I think what's going on is all of this. This is when we're talking about the name of Mab, which is the power, the energy of an Aliyah. He said when we're talking about that, at the same time that the Mochin are going downwards. I think it's a potential, because this is going to be the springboard to bring it all back up again. And so let's finish this out. So this is just and he says, along with the 42, you also have just the Milui of the name Av, which is Gematria 46. I'm not sure what to do with that, but that's here. And it's maybe part of the mob, I'm not sure. So he said, where is it going to go? It's going to go to the Ponim, the face side, of the Tisha Spheros Elyona, the Kachbad, of the 9 upper spheros. We're dealing with Malchus. I think they're trying to bring it to Malchus. He said the Kachbad, the Chachan, the Nai v'Chagat, the Chagat. Now we should be getting used to this phrase, the Nai v'Chagat, the Chagat. We should be getting used to this because it's just the way that the RASHASH says that you could take everything and divide it up. It depends on how close you want to get to where it's going. So it's going to the Chacham, which is the right line, of the Nai v'Chagat Achagat. That is from the 6 spheros, which are called Naich Mechagat, of the parts of Kol Chagat. The Ma'u Ben, the Ma, the Zun. So this is the Ma'u Ben. And now here's a little switch of Ma itself has within it a Ma'u Ben, the Zun. And this is what you're delivering. Yud Kei Vav. Excuse me. That's where we're flow up to now. Now we're saying, I'm not saying that this is delivering. I haven't really looked at it yet. So that's the shir today. A little bit more of the RASHASH. Just listening to it, I think just looking at it and just deciphering it, which is really, if you can look at it, for me, if I can look at it, I could try to see it. But looking at it, isn't that easy either. So this is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator Kolam.